I do want to walk you through what we know, the very latest on this investigation. 3:15 yesterday morning, you see the moment right here when the man driving the white truck you see in that video makes a direct turn onto Bourbon Street, immediately accelerates and kills people as he drives down the street. He has been identified as Shamsud-Din Jabbar. 15 people dead, including Jabbar, who was shot by police as he engaged in a gunfire exchange with them, shooting 2 officers, in fact. Orleans Parish is now under a state of emergency as the FBI leads the investigation into this attack as an intentional act of terrorism. And with that, a lot of questions remain as to why this man did what he did. This morning, investigators are working to find out as much information about him so that they can answer that question.
Now, we don't know if there are any ties to the city that he may have. We are learning more, though, about his potential motive and other elements of his life. Mike McDaniel is joining us live from Bourbon and look at the suspect. Good morning, Mike.
Hey there, good morning. A little bit of news to pass along to you. I did have a law enforcement official kind of tell me that they do expect to open Bourbon Street a little later today, maybe around the noon hour. That time frame's a little fluid. That kind of lines up with everything that we've seen this morning with all of the crews out on the streets, getting all the trash cleared, getting it swept, getting them all hosed down, the sidewalks cleaned, and you can look behind me. Bourbon Street is pretty empty at this point. There are a few law enforcement officers kind of walking the street a little further down, and there's some state troopers kind of posted all around us. They're part of the troop that really looks out and covers Bourbon Street on major events. They were telling us a little bit earlier that they were all called in from around the state, so that's why we have a lot of different troops from these state patrol units here on the scene here in the French Quarter. All right, so let's talk about this suspect, 42-year-old Shamsud-Din Jabbar. The investigation into this man stretches from New Orleans to Houston, as we've been telling you all morning, where investigators are searching his residence there in the northern part of Houston. We don't have a whole lot of details as to what maybe investigators have found, other than the fact that they have served warrants and they are looking for any type of information as to maybe an explanation as to why he chose New Orleans to carry out this attack. Back here in New Orleans, that area outside of the home, that Airbnb in the St. Roch neighborhood where Jabbar is believed to have been staying, that area is still blocked off. Investigators will be there throughout the day. We do know that Jabbar was born and raised in Beaumont, Texas. He was currently living in Houston, where that search is happening right now. He was involved in real estate. He does have he has a military background, served in the Army, was a human resource specialist, information technology specialist. That was from 2007 to 2015. He did serve in the U.S. Army Reserve. He did spend a year in 2009. That was in Afghanistan. And a former classmate who went to school with Jabbar in Beaumont from the age of 14 to 18 says Jabbar was smart, friendly, and talked with everyone.
Just from knowing him personally as an adolescent to 18, I mean, I'm just shocked. He was well respected, carried himself well, and I mean, you just wouldn't think that he would do something like this.
Of course, the FBI, now the lead agency in this investigation, looking into whether Jabbar had any type of connection to any terrorist organization. They've been looking into that ever since this investigation really began, when they started calling this an act of terror. Of course, those suspects, those people that the FBI was looking for that may have been connected, they believed may have been connected with those IED, those improvised explosive devices, they have since been cleared from this investigation, as investigators now work to determine whether, in fact, anyone else was involved or if Jabbar acted alone. So still a lot of unanswered questions as to why, but we do know the who. Live in the French Quarter, Mike McDaniel, WWL, Louisiana, guys.
All right, Mike, thank you so much for giving us that information. You know, just a horrible situation that happened downtown with this terror attack. And that is now where we find Leah, where this all started.
Yeah, Leah, what can you tell us about where things are, where you are?
Where they have Bourbon Street shut down right now. You heard Mike mention that he heard from some law enforcement officers that there is a plan to maybe open up Bourbon Street a little bit earlier, a little bit later today, I should say, around the noon hour. But as of right now, law enforcement presence is still here on scene at the intersection of Canal and Bourbon, and it's still closed. We did hear from Council President Helena Moreno earlier this morning, where she told me that the FBI has cleared the scene. So that's a large reason as to why we saw a lot of those IV waste trucks going into that area earlier this morning. Also, how we saw some of that debris getting cleared up and hauled away. We saw looked like a motored wheelchair that was just completely destroyed and mangled that was being taken away from the scene. Also, that construction crane lift that the suspect hit after he had made it out 3 blocks on Bourbon right before he jumped out of that vehicle and did exchange gunfire with police. As we all mentioned again, he's been identified as 42-year-old Shamsud-Din Jabbar. Police do say that this investigation is expanding state lines. They had some representatives over in Houston, Texas, at a home believed to be connected to Jabbar, and also an Airbnb right here, not too far from where this attack happened in the St. Roch neighborhood. There was a fire at that Airbnb, and federal agents were over there as well. So still a lot of moving parts to this investigation, but there is one thing that is very clear today. Council President Moreno said that she wants everyone to know that she will be doing everything in her power to make sure that this incident is looked at into every single level, because she says clearly something needs to change.
I think everything needs to be reviewed. What potentially was missed, with this particular situation. And I'm not just talking about the local level. I'm saying, was it something missed on the state level? Was something missed on the federal level with intelligence? Were there any red flags with this terrorist?
And all those questions we hope to get answers to in the coming days, in the coming weeks, as this investigation continues to unfold here in the city of New Orleans, and of course over in Texas, as they continue to hopefully learn more information about what sparked an Army veteran to rent a car, drive hundreds of miles away, and plow into a crowd of people here in the city of New Orleans. But again, as of right now, still an active law enforcement presence here in the French Quarter, here in the downtown area. Military police have been out here on scene, as well as the other law enforcement here in the area as well. Sending it back to you all in the studio.